Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Navita P. I create content on budgeting, credit card churning, increasing credit scores, and everything in between. If you like what I talk about, hit that subscribe button right now and join me on this journey. And let's get started on this video. Should I invest my stimulus check? Let's find out. So the topic of today's video is, should I invest my stimulus check? So let's think about it here. Most Americans right now should have already received a direct deposit to their account of $1,200 or more. Each individual is receiving $1,200 and $500 for each child. I think there's a cap up to 4 children, so that would be 500 times 4, it's just $2,000 for children. Now, if you take a look at the website irs.gov, I will put a link in the description. You'll also see a video right now for those of you who have not received your direct deposit and you want to find out more information on how to go about getting a check or get more information on why you did not receive your refund, your stimulus. Okay, here we go. I wanted to just show you on the website, the irs.gov website. You can go to irs.gov and now you'll see right here, get my payments. And now it's going to say, check on the status of your economic impact. This application will give you information about your payment status, your payment type, and whether we need more information from you, including your bank account information. Now it says you may need your 2019 if filed and your 2018 return. So get my payment, click get my payment, and this U.S. government system is for authorized use only. Click OK. And then complete this information here. Social Security number or tax ID number, date of birth, street address, zip or postal code. Now, if you get a message that says, like an error message, or it says, please try again, what does that mean? It means that your account has been locked. You will be able to access the application after 24 hours have passed. Do not contact the IRS. What does it mean when get payment says need more information? It means you are eligible for an economic impact payment, but we did not have your direct deposit information. So you would have to go, if you choose not to provide your bank information, or prefer to receive your EIP by mail, your payment will be sent to the address we have on file for you. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is, if you click here, non-filers, enter payment info here. It tells you here, you click on this link, non-filers, enter payment info here. So now you click on that, and then it takes you to this part of the website. It says free file. It says if you don't usually file a tax return, submit your information here to get economic impact payment. It says do not continue. If you receive Social Security, Railroad Retirement, SSDI benefits, the IRS will automatically send you an economic impact payment. You have already filed a 2019 income tax return. Your 2019 gross income exceeded $12,200, $24,400 for a married couple, or other reasons require you to file a 2019 federal tax return. You were married at the end of 2019 and are not submitting information here with your spouse. You were not a U.S. citizen or U.S. permanent resident in 2019. So this tells you this information on if you don't, so if you read at the top again, it says if you don't usually file a tax return, then you would submit this information here. But it gives you other information that says do not continue if you receive Social Security and so on and so forth. And if this applies to you and you think you should be able to complete this, you click get started. And then you would have to either create an account or sign in with the account you might already have. Now let's go back here. And all the information that you need about the payment, on how to get the payment. And then if you go back again to the Get My Payment Frequently Asked Questions, go click on any of these links here and we'll answer most of, I think, if not all, the questions. Okay, so let's get into it. I have 4 pieces of advice. I am so happy to share it with you on how you should or can spend your stimulus check or a direct deposit. So the government put out, $2 trillion relief fund, and lucky for us, most Americans will receive this refund or this relief check. And I have 4 tips for you. So tip number 1 is to stash it. Stash it and save it, put it away, hide it under your mattress, save it, put it in your account, your bank account, put it in a high yield savings account, whatever you want to do with regards to savings. We're in a state of panic. In the highest point, let's say in the United States, in New York, where we've already reached that apex, that curve, and now we're starting to come down. That doesn't mean that everything is going to go back to normal. We don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know exactly when this is going to end. We have an idea, we have a prediction as to when it might end, but we really don't know. And at this point, everyone who's in the workforce, there is no job security. You really do not know what is going to happen tomorrow. We don't know if we're going to lose our jobs. We don't know if we're going to have enough money to pay rent. And this goes across the board. This goes for most middle-class working Americans. So the first thing you should really do is think about stashing that money, saving it, hiding it from yourself. If you're thinking of spending it, put it away. For those of you who actually have a bigger built-up savings, there's other ways you can use it. But at this point, if you know that you don't have job security and you're really working paycheck to paycheck, and you don't have enough money for let's say if you have to pay rent or you need to buy groceries, you really are really tight on your budget, the best thing for you to do is take that money and put it in savings. If you don't have to pay rent or if you don't have your bills to pay. I've also, in the previous video, how to save money on a low income, take a look at that video. I'll put a link at the top. If you want more ways at this point, it's really helpful. Take a look at that video for more pointers. So this tip number 2 is to start an emergency fund. Now, an emergency fund is basically something that you would need in case your car breaks down. If you need funds to fix your car, or your boiler broke and you need to fix that immediately, or if something, an emergency state, God forbid, a family member passes away, you need to fly down to another state, another country, you have money for a flight. I mean, that's really an emergency, whatever the emergency is. I guess COVID-19 is an emergency right now, so I guess you need it for this as well. But what I'm saying is, if you don't have an emergency fund already, or if you already have an emergency fund and you should try to add to your existing emergency fund, if you're currently working and have an income already coming in, by all means, it's better to save it. Back to tip number 1, to save it, or number 2, start an emergency fund or add to your existing emergency fund. For those of you that follow Dave Ramsey, I'm referring to baby step 1 and baby step 3. I'll include more information about that below. I know job security is very tough right now, and really there is no job that's fully secure. But with that being said, if you do have debt that has piled up, or you have some back debt, or you have some debt that you want to just get rid of, and I'm sick and tired of seeing this debt, I want to get rid of it, I have some cash now, I want to put it towards it, that's another great way to pay down your debt. But make sure that you already have, number 1, a savings, and number 2, the emergency fund. If you don't have these 2 things, it's going to be harder for you, especially when an emergency does happen. You really need that funds and you don't have it, and you've already paid off your debt. So make sure you already have number 1 and number 2 done, and number 3, you can go ahead and pay down the debt. And paying off this debt will feel like a sigh of relief. Wow, that's one thing I don't have to think about. It's already paid off for. Now, that's great for some Americans. Others would probably have maybe more, a substantial amount of debt, depending, the average American, I believe, has over $8,000 worth of credit card debt. Now, if you have $1,200 from your stimulus and you have $8,000 to pay, it might not make sense to pay all the $1,200 on the $8,000. That's just an average amount. So it might not make that much sense to do that right now. So what I would suggest you to do is maybe if you're on a payment plan, just pay that every month and keep that as a savings. So it's really dependent on what you have and what you don't have. Take a look at what you have, get your budget in order, and see what you can pay down. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to put it away. And to answer the question, should we invest our money, our stimulus money, into an investment? Should we invest our stimulus money? It should really only be for those of you that are stable. If you have a really good job and you have a weekly income coming in, things are going great, you have a savings, you have an emergency fund, those are the things that should be taken care of first. If you don't have that, then you really should. Now back to the topic of this video. Now I haven't really talked about it much, but I'm going to talk about it now. On to tip number 4. Should I invest my stimulus check relief, direct deposit, whatever you want to call it, into an account or an investment account? Should I invest it? That's really the topic of this video, and we've finally come to the end. So if you're thinking about investing and you're in a good position, and like I've said before, if you have a savings, if you already have an emergency fund, that's great. If you have some sort of job security, if you're still working and you're still bringing in income and things are okay with you, maybe this is the time to think about investing your stimulus check, or investing it into a certain kind that is not so risky. And really the less risky ones are the best ones to invest in right now. And what I would suggest is the Vanguard EFT. I will explain more about that right now in this next video. I will explain to you what an EFT is and how to open up an account through Vanguard. To show you, if you go to the screen, if you go to this website, if you go to vanguard.com and then click on personal investors, it will give you some really good information here on what low cost ETFs are. So this information is for anyone who is looking to invest in Vanguard. And I just wanted to give you some information about it. And I think Vanguard is such a good company to go through. They have one of the lowest fees and it's pretty easy to set up. So let's take a look here. It says here, don't settle for less before you decide which company's ETFs, which is exchange traded funds, to buy. Learn more about what sets Vanguard ETFs apart. So first, let's figure out what is an ETF. So let's click on that link and let's go over that. What is an ETF? By definition, an ETF is an exchange traded funds. ETFs are traded on major stock exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. So it says, of course, you'll buy and sell them in your Vanguard brokerage account. If you ever traded an individual stock, then buying and selling an ETF will feel similar because it's traded the same way. Now the fun part. An ETF is a collection of tens, hundreds, and sometimes thousands of stocks or bonds in a single fund. If you've ever owned a mutual fund, particularly an index fund, then owning an ETF will feel similar because it has the same built-in diversification and low cost. So if you click on this link here, it will give you some short videos. You can learn more about ETFs. And it tells you a good point here for those of you who wants to invest in an ETF. There's less risk. Enjoy the convenience of an ETF, which already contains a pre-selected collection of stocks and bonds. If a single stock or bond in the collection is performing poorly, there's a good chance that another is performing well, which helps minimize your losses. On the other hand, when you buy individual stocks and bonds, if one goes south, your savings could take a bigger hit in a short period. And it says here also another reason to go with ETFs is that it's less work. It says, leave the selection of stocks and bonds to a professional fund manager and save yourself time and effort. You don't necessarily need to get into this and get a financial advisor. You can start off slow, and as you learn and grow, you can invest just by reading a few books. Then watching YouTube videos or just doing research, you can find out more about ETFs. So that is what I wanted to tell you. Also, it says here at the bottom, ETF costs. And it says, let our commission-free trading and low expense ratio help you minimize your cost. And also there's other information here about it. So if you just take a look at that, it'll give you more information on investing in ETF. And there's other information here on the top where you can choose your ETF. You can buy a Vanguard ETF. And you can go through that. And if you're looking to open a brokerage account, if you don't have one already, you can click on that link, open a brokerage account. And then it says, what would you like to do? Welcome to a different way of thinking and feeling about investing. And it says, open a new account or move an account or assets to a Vanguard. For those of you, most of you will probably click on new account. You just click on let's open an account. And it says, how will you fund this new account? For most people, it will be electronic bank transfer or another Vanguard account. You can also roll over from your employer, for an example, 401k plan, or transfer investments from another financial institution. So usually it's going to be the first one. Click continue. And if you say you don't have a login, you're practically new here, you'll click continue. No, I'm new. And then it says open an account, things you'll need. So you'll need the routing and your account number at your bank, if not already on file, and your current employer's name and address required by law. So you would need to go through this process. And it says here new account process. So you'll choose the account that you're trying to create. Usually, I would assume would be an individual, but everyone is different. Number 2, complete an online application, which is 5 to 10 minutes. And number 3 is watch for a confirmation, which is 1 to 2 days. And then click continue. And then you'll go through the steps that I just spoke about in deciding which account you're going to open. Depending, if you're really going for a retirement account, you'll click on that and you'll go through this if you're selecting a traditional or Roth IRA. For most people, it would be individual general investing. If you're looking just to invest short term, or you want to learn about it, you want to just jump in and dive in. So that's what I wanted to show you. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to my video, please do so, and I'll see you in the next one.